We are asking questions tonight about rising tensions between the United States and Iran. The Iranian army launched a missile strike against a U.S. base in Qatar today in response to American airstrikes on Saturday. None of our thousands of troops stationed there were injured. And now we're going to bring in Cedarville University Professor of International Studies, Dr. Glen Duerr. Thank you so much for joining us again to talk about this. Now that this attack has happened, what do you believe comes next after this has happened to our U.S. troops?
There are a wide variety of situations that could occur next. The good news is there's something of an off-ramp where possible negotiations could continue. The bad news, though, is that Iran has over 130 different nuclear sites, and while the B-2s probably knocked out some of the central components of their nuclear program, there are many more. And there are dangers around the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian parliament, the Majlis, is talking about trying to shut that down. And some 25% of the world's oil goes through there. Some 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas goes through there. I don't see Iran doing this, but at the same time, it's one of the possibilities that could happen in the forthcoming days.
Iran reportedly issued a warning before the U.S. strike about potential terrorist sleeper cells. Is this a reason to be concerned about potential violence in the United States? Because we've heard this a lot here in the last few weeks.
There's certainly a reason for vigilance, but in terms of a large-scale, sophisticated terrorist attack, I think it's unlikely, simply because it would have been more likely after October the 7th, 2023, or when Iran directly fired upon Israel in April and then October of 2024. At the same time, a reported couple hundred Iranians did get through the southern border within the last 4 years. And so there is the potential there. But my sense is that most were fleeing a brutal regime from Iran. It doesn't discount the likelihood of a lone wolf type terrorist attack or some form of Iranian sympathizer doing something. But in terms of a large scale, sophisticated attack, I don't think it's imminent or very, very likely.
Is there a likelihood, because a lot of people here in the U.S. have talked about this or maybe have these worries, that the U.S. goes to war with Iran, or will there just be smaller operations like the one Saturday night?
I think you're right. I think it's more like the smaller operations, and I foresee an aerial confrontation ongoing for some time. In terms of a ground war, it's unlikely because Israel and Iran are actually pretty far from one another. You have to get through some combination of Syria, Jordan, and Iraq to get from Iran to Israel, and that's unlikely. Iran is also 92 million people, major mountain ranges. It's almost like Iraq and Afghanistan together. And so sending US ground troops would be highly unlikely. But at the same time, Iran's nuclear program is worrying, and it is a reason why Israel and the United States have really tried to neutralize some of the major nuclear sites.
All right, certainly an ongoing situation we'll continue to monitor. Dr. Glen Duerr, Professor of International Studies at Cedarville University, we appreciate your time tonight. Thanks so much.
A pleasure.